Let's go to Boston now and bring in Vesko Garčević from the Frederick S. Pardee School of Global Studies at Boston University. Very good to have you on the program, sir. As a professor of diplomacy and international relations, how would you rate the diplomatic efforts taking place right now to reach a peace in Ukraine?
And also, thank you first of all for inviting me, having me this evening with you. And as a former diplomat, I can be really aware of the pressure on President Zelensky in this moment. And I would say that nothing new, that President Zelensky is in between two fires, either to spoil, let's say, relations with the U.S., and then to put them into question, at least as far as this administration is concerned, or to yield to their pressure and to cede the territories, which is very difficult for Ukraine to do. And I would say for any country on this planet would be difficult to cede 20% of its territory to somebody who invaded this country. At the same time, the U.S. is on a stance that undermines support to Ukraine. In fact, puts Ukraine in a corner so that Ukraine cannot withstand the ongoing attacks of Russia on the front. So therefore, I see this initiative, President Zelensky initiative and European leaders initiative as a, let's say, two-pronged strategy. The first thing is for Zelensky himself to increase his bargaining power at the table, to make it clear to, first of all, White House that there is another player in the game here. It is a player called the European allies, and as long as European allies are behind him, his position at the table is relatively strong. At the same time, European allies want to use this opportunity to make clear that without them, the deal is not possible, and that they are also indispensable actor in this game. So while they demonstrated unity today, and as President Macron said that European allies have cards in their hands as well, and they demonstrated convergence in their opinion during this meeting, the meetings these days, it is obvious that this convergence doesn't exist between Europe and Washington at the same time. If we can compare briefly the current situation with the previous situation when the previous administration was in the White House, one can say that at that time, we had two sides negotiating, one side being made up of European Union and or European allies and the US vis-a-vis Russia. Today, we may even speak about Russia and US being almost on the same page, while European allies and the Ukrainians are trying each other to balance these dynamics in order to help Ukraine. It is very, how to say, difficult to make projections what the outcome, what the end game will be in this particular, dynamics, and how long it's going to take until we reach a deal which will be satisfactory for all sides at the table.
Now, Europe obviously has a major stake in whatever happens in Ukraine, but so far Europe really hasn't been a part of those peace negotiations between the US and Russia. Do you think that Europe should actually do more on its own, both diplomatically and perhaps even militarily, and not rely so much on the US?
You are right. It's not just about Ukraine and Russia. It's about European Union and Europe, and it's a global posture, and that I would say deserves another discussion. And I would say that European Union or European allies are trying now hard to bring them back to the limelight while supporting Ukraine in this case. It is not just about Ukraine. It is to restate, to reclaim its global posture, and many things depends on how they're going to play in this particular case. Europe is ready to be, according to Zelensky, who made a statement, I think, this evening, European allies, or as the coalition of the willing, are ready to provide security guarantees for Ukraine, according to his statement. But at the same time, he admitted that there is still unknown what could happen if, for example, Russia again invades Ukraine, and what would be reaction of guarantees guarantor in this case, whether European allies would be willing to stand completely behind Ukraine in that case. And I think this is a big question mark for Ukraine and big question mark for European allies as well. If we just look back briefly at what has happened with the Budapest Agreement of 1944, when current Ukraine was in fact established, that agreement allowed security guarantees or security assurances, better said, were given to Ukraine by US, Russia, and the UK. As you know, Russia violated the agreement. Now the US is driving away from the agreement. So therefore, for Ukraine, this is not just a question, rhetorical question, it's a question of survival. Who is going to be guarantor if they agree to make a deal this time?
Yeah, of course, as much as you mentioned the fear that Russia might invade Ukraine again, there's also, of course, the fear within the European countries that Russia might, in fact, attack or invade a European country or even a NATO country. Sir, you've been an ambassador to both NATO and the OSCE. Do you think that any one of those organizations could play a bigger role here in actually forcing Russia to end its aggression in Ukraine?
The OSCE is the organization which is supposed to be an umbrella organization for security and other like a platform for political discussion between countries from both sides of Atlantic, including Russia. So from that point of view, the OSCE could served or could have served as an excellent mechanism to, bring two sides closer, at least bring them to the table and provide a platform for negotiation, which I would say honestly didn't happen. When it comes to NATO, NATO itself, is currently, let's say, put in question, or if to some extent, by the U.S. and the recent U.S. national strategy was very critical, as you know, is very critical about European allies. So in this given situation, I would say Russia sees its opportunity and wants to seize the opportunity to transfer the gains on the battlefield into something more palpable. And they've been trying very hard to do so, and they found, let's say, partner to play with in Washington nowadays. So to answer your question, I would be cautious when speaking about potential OSCE or NATO's role in the foreseeable future when it comes to negotiation over a peace deal in Ukraine.
Professor Garčević, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me.